Let me ask you a question real quick. How many promises have you broken to yourself this week? Not to other people, to yourself. The gym you said you'd go to, the thing you said you'd start, the habit you said this time would be different. I'm not saying that to judge you. I'm saying it because I was the worst offender on the planet at that. Like, genuinely, I could not keep a single promise to myself. Not one. My whole life was just a trail of things I said I'd do and I never did. And then I got sober and everything changed. Not overnight, not because I read the right book or found the right routine, but because I had no other choice. And what 3 years on the other side of that taught me about discipline, I don't think I could have learned it any other way. That's what we're talking about today. So let me paint you a picture of what zero discipline actually looks like. Because I think when people talk about discipline, they talk about it like it's something you either have or you don't have. Like it's some type of personality trait, or like some people are just built that way. To me, that's not real. That's just not how it works. Before I got clean, my entire existence was built around one single thing, and that was chasing pleasure. That was it. Whatever felt good right now, whatever numbed whatever I was feeling, whatever got me through the next few hours, that was the priority and nothing else mattered to me. There was no long-term thinking, there was no delayed gratification, there was no I'll feel better about myself if I do this hard thing. Like, none of that existed in my world. And it wasn't just the addiction was a symptom. The real issue was that I had never once, not once, proven to myself that I could do something hard and stick with it. I had no evidence that I was someone who followed through. Every time I quit something, every time I broke a promise to myself, it just confirmed the same story. You can't do it. You are not that person, and that's what I would tell myself. And here's the thing, when you tell yourself that story long enough, you're gonna start to believe it. And when you believe it, you stop trying. And when you stop trying, the story just gets louder. That's the cycle, and that's what I was in. And I think a lot of people watching this, you might not be an addict. You might never have been, but you know that cycle. You've felt it. The version of it that lives in your life might look different than mine did, but that feeling of not being able to trust yourself, of saying you're going to do something and watching yourself not do it again, that's universal. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because getting out of that cycle is what 3 years of sobriety actually taught me. It had nothing to do with motivation. It had everything to do with discipline. Okay, so here's the thing about discipline that I don't think it's said enough. Everyone talks about discipline like it's this constant grind, like it's supposed to feel hard forever. Like if you're not white knuckling it through your routine every single day, then you're not really disciplined. I'm here to tell you that's completely wrong, and that's not what real discipline looks like. Here's what I've actually learned. Discipline is what you do until something becomes intuitive. That's it. You take initiative, you stay consistent, and at some point, and this takes time, like a long time, it stops feeling like discipline at all. It just becomes who you are. The gym is the easiest and most basic example for me. I go 5 days a week, I eat well. People see that and they say, man, you're so disciplined. But honestly, I don't even think about it anymore. It's not a battle every day, it's just what I do. It's part of my identity now. But that didn't happen overnight. There was a period, a long one at that, where it took everything I had to show up, where I had every excuse in the world not to go, where I was tired, I was stressed, I was dealing with stuff, and going to the gym was the last thing I really wanted to do. And I went anyway, not because I felt motivated, not because I had something that you don't, but because I made a commitment to myself and I was done being someone who broke those. That's really the shift. Like, that's the actual thing. When you're in addiction, or when you're just stuck in life, broke, going nowhere, the problem isn't that you don't know what to do. Most people know what they should be doing. The problem is you don't trust yourself to do it. You've broken too many promises and you've got no track record with yourself. So the way out isn't motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. The way out is starting small, keeping the promise and building evidence. Evidence that you are someone who does what they say. That's it. That's really the whole thing. Let me tell you about a specific period because I think it makes this real. When I first moved to California and got clean, I was starting from zero. And I mean that literally. No car, no real money. When I got my first job, I was making $17 an hour in one of the most expensive states in the country and in one of the worst economies in modern human history. And public transportation out here, if you're not from California, it's basically useless depending on where you are. I was Ubering to work every shift, getting rides whenever I could for $17 an hour, Ubering to a job, trying to save money in a place where everything costs twice what it should. You want to talk about demoralizing? That was demoralizing. Like, that shit sucked. I'd get in an Uber at whatever time in the morning, doing the math in my head, knowing a chunk of what I was about to earn was already gone before I even clocked in. And there were mornings where I sat in that Uber and thought, this is pointless. Like, genuinely, what am I doing? This isn't working. It would be so much easier to just give up on all of this and go back to what I knew. Because that's the thing nobody tells you about early sobriety. And honestly, about any kind of rebuilding. The beginning is humiliating. Like, genuinely. You're not winning yet, you're just surviving. And surviving doesn't feel like progress, it feels like suffering. But I kept showing up. Eventually I saved enough to buy a car. An absolute beater at that. It was a 2003 Volkswagen Passat. The thing was barely running. In this car, no AC. None. So now I'm driving to work in California in the summer with no air conditioning. Windows down, sweating, getting to work looking like I freaking ran there. The speakers were also blown out, so I had a JBL sitting in the cup holder and that was my radio. And some of those mornings I wanted to quit so bad. Like the thought would just sit there in the back of my head. Go use, blow all of this up, and at least that's familiar. That thought was loud sometimes, and I'm not gonna pretend it wasn't. But here's what was happening underneath all of that. Every single time I showed up, I was making a deposit. Not in a bank account, but in myself, in my own self-respect, and my own evidence that I was someone different than the person I used to be. And slowly, not fast, but slowly, I started to believe it. I got a better car, I moved up in the field, I got in great shape. I started actually counseling people because I was building the credit to do so. I wasn't just doing entry-level work anymore. I was still involved with music at the time and started to make some outside income from that. And none of that happened because things got easier. It happened because I stopped waiting for easy and just kept moving. That's what discipline actually is. It's not about being tough every day. It's about not stopping when it's hard. There's a difference. So why am I talking about this on a channel that's also about financial freedom and building a real life? Because it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. The reason most people can't save money isn't because they don't know they should save money. I think everyone knows they should save money. The reason is the same reason I couldn't get clean for years. Short-term discomfort beats long-term thinking every time until you train yourself otherwise. Spending feels good now and saving feels like nothing now. The future version of you that benefits from the sacrifice doesn't feel real yet. That's an addiction pattern. And look, I'm not saying everyone who overspends is an addict. I'm saying the psychological mechanism is the same. Immediate reward over delayed gratification. Pleasure now over freedom later. And the fix is the same too. You don't fix it with motivation. You don't fix it by watching a YouTube video. I say that knowing full well you're watching a YouTube video right now. You fix it by making one small commitment, keeping it, and just building from there. For me right now, that looks like putting $1,000 to $1,500 a month into a high yield savings account. Every month, I post 1 to 2 videos minimum a week on this channel, whether I feel like it or not. Whether it feels like it's making a difference or not. I treat investing like it's another monthly bill. Because I know from experience that consistency over time does something that no single big move ever really could. I'm also maxing out my Roth IRA contributions when I can, putting money into index funds and occasionally Bitcoin. I'm building slow, building boring, building the same way I built my sobriety, one day at a time, one decision at a time. Not because it feels exciting, but because I know where it leads. And just like those mornings Ubering to work didn't feel like progress, they were. Every single one of them. Look, I know some of you are watching this and are struggling with discipline. Maybe you feel like it's for other people, or like you're too far behind or too deep in your own stuff to even start. I hear that, and I really do, because I was that person. And what I can tell you from the other side is this. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. You just need to find one thing, one small thing that you said you're going to do, and just do it. And then do it again tomorrow, and then the day after. That's it. Like, that's the whole entry point. So no need to overcomplicate it. Because the person you want to be isn't waiting for you to feel ready. They're waiting for you to start acting like them before you feel like them. That's how it actually works. I'm still building. I'm still in it. But I'm 3 years in on this version of myself, and I can tell you, the gap between who I was and who I am right now is a direct result of keeping promises to myself when every part of me wanted to break them. You can do that too, wherever you're starting from, whether you're behind or if you're ahead of me. If this resonated with you, consider liking and subscribing. I'm documenting my entire journey on this channel, the wins, the losses, everything in between. We're building something different here. Actual realistic strategies and real-time documentation of self-development and financial freedom. In my next videos, I'm going to break down my exact salary living in Los Angeles County and how I still manage to invest aggressively, how I cut down my rent and expenses, and where I'm at with my career pivot into data analytics. And next, I want to hear from you. Tell me where you're at with this stuff because I genuinely do read them and I genuinely want to know. And as always, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Peace out.